everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
Okay, I'm doing a speech for school, and it's about endangered species of the Northwest. Can anybody tell me what places that might include? Yes, Haley?
Oregon
Yeah. And
and
Alaska.
Washington and Alaska.
Yep, okay. Do you know what it means when an animal or a species is on the endangered species list? Alexis, do you know?
That they're in danger of being extinct.
Yes. And what does extinct mean?
Gone forever?
Yeah. Can you name anything that's gone forever right now?
No, wait.
The dinosaurs,
Wait.
yes. There are over 400 species that are endangered in the Northwest. Do you know how many there are in the world? There's 5,000. There's a butterfly called the Taylor's checker spot butterfly. Its wings are 2.5 inches, about that big. They're a tiny butterfly. And they're seeing less and less of those butterflies because they're losing their habitat. They're sensitive to chemicals, pesticides, stuff that they use on farms. They don't cope with them very well. I have a picture of the butterfly right here. And it's called the Taylor checker spot. You can pass that around. The Northwest bumblebee might be added to the endangered species list soon. If you've ever seen those fuzzy bumblebees flying around outside, they have fur on them almost that collects pollen when they land on flowers, and then when they fly, the pollen falls and they take the pollen to other plants. Butterflies and hummingbirds and stuff do this kind of stuff too. They pollinate other plants and keep them growing. If we didn't have bees doing that, you know what would happen, Haley? We wouldn't have any flowers or food or anything. There's also a turtle called the leatherback sea turtle. It's a reptile that's on the endangered species list. Their habitat is diminishing because people are taking over. There's too much fishing, there's too much pollution, people take their eggs, there's foot traffic and regular traffic on the beaches. That compact down the sand and make it hard for the baby turtles to get out of the sand. Sometimes the baby turtles get confused and head to the city lights instead of the ocean. Usually they go for the moonlight, but sometimes they'll go the wrong direction and then they don't make it. The earth is one big ecosystem of little ecosystems for fish and birds and stuff. They all have special places to be. Did someone have a question?
Yeah, do you have a picture of a turtle?
Oh, I do. There you go. Pass that around. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. Let's talk about some things that happen when we lose animals like plants and birds and pollinating bees and butterflies. When they don't do their job, we can't have things like specifically we wouldn't be able to have strawberries, cherries, tomatoes, or coffee beans. And what's one thing we could not have if bees were gone?
Honey.
Honey. Yep. We wouldn't have honey. They're the only ones that make it. Yes?
We wouldn't have any flowers.
There's a lot, yeah, flowers. It would be really hard for flowers and a lot of trees to continue making new flowers and trees because the bees, that's their job. The bees carry pollen all over the place. So, let's see what else.
Do you have a bee?
Two. Yep, I have a bee too. You can look at. That's the Northwest bumblebee. It's a very fuzzy little bee. If you ever see him, you'd be really gentle. All right. Now that we know that what can happen if things stop getting pollinated, let's look at other animals. There are cougars They're also called mountain lions or pumas. And they have a really important role in their ecosystem. Does anybody know what they do that's so important? Alexis?
They eat deer and elk, which keeps their population stable.
Yes, it keeps their population stable so they can't overtake the land and eat the plants faster than the plants can grow. Yes, Haley?
They keep the mountains clear.
Yes, they do a good job keeping the deer and the elk population and sometimes smaller animals in control, their population in control. Okay, so species like bees and cougars have very important jobs. The plants and trees have very important jobs too, though. There are forests called old growth forests. They're forests that have been there for a very long time. They're old and they shelter some animals like let's see what it's called again, we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, the old growth forests are just really mature and old forests that need protected from people because it shelters animals that live there. There's a flower called the Lilium occidental. It's a rare species of the western lily. I don't have that picture. Sorry. The northern spotted owl. This owl lives in the old growth forest. It's been on the endangered species list since 1990 and it's still there. They need, 2 owls need 3,000 square miles just to themselves, so it's really hard to find places to put new spotted owls. These birds only live in the old growth forest. They do not live anywhere else. So it's very important that we protect the old growth forests in order to protect the owls. Yes, Haley?
And at nighttime they're awake, and at morning time they're asleep.
That's true.
So you can't see that. You can't see them in the light, but you can see them in the dark.
And another interesting fact is they cannot move their eyes. That's why they move their heads. They move their heads like this because they can't move their eyeballs. And here is the old growth forest that they live in, Haley. And here is the picture of the spotted owl. What are some ways we can help these animals? Recycling, we can clean up after people littering, we can walk and ride a bike instead of driving, okay? And to end this speech, I just want to say that life wouldn't be the same without every species. When we lose them, we lose things that are precious. The carnivores and cougars keep things in check. And old growth forests are important to protect too. A lot of Northwest animals, fish, plants, trees, birds, and reptiles are in danger of disappearing forever. They cannot protect themselves from poor human behavior, and we need to help them. People need to help them. And here is a picture of a bald eagle. They are no longer on the endangered species list, but they do still protect them. They're alive and well and making baby eagles, which are called eaglets. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Have you ever seen any of these animals?
I've seen cougars, eagle. I've seen some very old forests, bumblebees. Yes, I think I've seen them all except the turtle. Yes, Haley?
You have seen a turtle, but you haven't seen a sea turtle.
Exactly.
You've only seen like cousins, little tiny turtle that's gonna have a baby.
All right. That's it. Thank you.